So thank you very much for the introductions and for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here today. So my name is Sławomir Górniak. I represent ENISA, which is European Union Agency for Network and Information Security. I would like to speak about the current evolvements in the world of electronic identities and trust services within the EU. First, a short introduction of the agency where I work. So it's a kind of detached agency from the European Commission. We are a center of knowledge, and we are providing services to all member states' governments and to the European Commission. We have collaboration with many governments and many ministries in the EU. Basically our main task is to advise member states and the Commission on everything that concerns network and information security issues. We have a yearly work program aligned with the needs of the Commission and the member states, but also we respond to all requests from member states regarding network and information security that they may have. First, very recently, so last year, a new regulation has come into place, which is the regulation number 910 on electronic identification and trust service providers. Imagine, well, you have, I don't know if Slovakia has electronic ID card already, or it's in, yeah, great. It's one of almost half of the countries that have it already. The idea, or original idea of the Commission was to unify, well, not to unify these systems, but to make all citizens of EU possessing such a card to be able to use it in all other countries of the EU. And let's say already from the 90s there was a discussion how to unify electronic signatures together, and there was a directive on electronic signatures that for many years was in place, but the evolvements in the digital world were so quick that this directive very soon became obsolete or not adequate to the current world. One of the first attempts, let's say, to unify these systems, national EID systems, was the Services Directive, which actually, well, this was a very large directive of more than 100 pages, and there was just one line in this directive that was stating that all services that are available in a member states online must be accessible by all, from all member states. This was a very short sentence, but it resulted in a huge implementation problem, how to unify these systems. Well, how to make connection within these systems. Basically, the idea is that when I have my own EID card, I can use it in all other countries, for example, to open a business and to use it as a citizen, as the citizen of this country. After long talks, this regulation called EIDAS, it's an acronym for this regulation on electronic identification and trust services, came into force last year. Firstly, it implies that electronic signatures, electronic seals, time stamping, etc., issued in one country will be valid in all other countries. Also, one of the articles of this regulation, number 19, imposes all trust services to address security requirements, to comply with some security rules, and also with notifications of breaches at their premises. This is basically a very powerful tool that is given to the citizen to access e-services from governmental e-services, but also it gives quite a lot of opportunities for the public sector, for the private sector, and for e-services. So I will not read all this that is written here due to the time constraints, but basically, apart from the main goal to allow the citizen to use electronic services in all the countries providing them, there is also a possibility to use it for the private sector. So the Commission and us, ENISA, we collected some messages from private sector regarding these regulations. And well, First, we are observing that there is a really big demand from the business side on security and convenience in online transactions, and this regulation actually comes in front of these expectations. The common principles of the regulation are that, firstly, technological neutrality. This regulation, in contrary with the directive that was with us since the 90s, has to be neutral technologically and as durable as possible, meaning that as the old one became well, obsolete quite quickly, the aim of the Commission was to have something more durable. That's why all the technological advancements are put into so-called, for the moment, into so-called implementing acts of the regulation. So the regulation is composed of itself, the regulation, and then there are implementing acts that basically put in place more technological measures. This is the timeline of the introduction of ADAS regulation. So the entry into force of the regulation was last year in 2014. As of this year, there is a voluntary recognition of EIDs, but for the moment, honestly speaking, it's not yet working as we would imagine this. But one of the dates that will be really important is the 1st of July next year, where this is the application of the date for the application of rules for trust services. The regulation is actually divided into parts. So one sets up the rules regarding electronic identities, and the other one, trust service providers. So all these certification authorities and all entities issuing certificates. And by this date, all these providers will be required to provide services according to the regulation. This is already, well, there has been a group, an informal expert group set up by the Commission comprising members from, experts from member states that actually worked on these implementing acts that I mentioned before. And now all mandatory implementing acts are published. Some non-mandatory ones are still under discussions, but the TSPs should be ready to comply with ADAS regulation as of the 1st of July. And the last date provided by ADAS is the 18th of September 2018, where actually all EIDs, national IDs, should be recognized across Europe. So ENISA, my agency, is actually supporting this work for, on trust service providers in many respects. So among others, we are producing technical guidelines for the TSPs. We started in 2013 by issuing a set of security recommendations for TSPs, so security framework, risk assessment, and how to mitigate the impact of security incidents at TSPs. This was complemented later last year by auditing framework of TSPs. These papers actually go straight into implementing acts of the Commission. So the Commission does not issue additional implementing acts because everything is already there in these papers. This year we analyzed standards that are issued in frame of the old service, the old e-signature directive, and now the ADAS regulation. And this will also provide to the Commission, also to the member states, information whether standards that are already on the market are, can be applied easily to the regulation requirements. We also analyzed the market of qualified web certificates, and also published this paper is actually already online. Next year we will still support the Commission in implementing the rules of the regulation, but also what is ongoing, we have set up a group on security breach notifications, so that will implement the Article 19 of the regulation. So, as for these recommendations, you can find everything in our papers that are available from our website, but this is a short set of recommendations that we give to the trust service providers, and due to the time constraints, I need to finish here. So thank you very much for your attention, and I invite you to visit our website for all details.
Please keep staying here. for a moment. I will try to plug this microphone. It works. Yes, correct. Well, ADAS regulation, I remember well because I was a member of the delegation who negotiated this very particular file in the Council and the Parliament. And I remember 2 years of a very, very hard, cruel discussions, how to manage interoperability. I owe myself to ask you a question. And then I give floor for the audience to ask you another one. My question is, how you see it may work in practice as regards the interoperability and the particular exchange of electronic schemes of digital services between the member states in order, for example, for Slovakian citizens to use digital services abroad, for example, in Spain or in Estonia or in the Czech Republic, using their ID card?
Well, the problem is not really with technology because basically the interfaces are quite easily obtainable. The biggest problem in ADAS in general was the different legal frameworks within these countries. So maybe that's why also this legal act came out as a regulation and not as a directive, because then it has to, it's directly valid in all member states. Well, from the practical point of view, I think, well, you will all have your readers and, well, your national readers of the cards, etc., and then there will be an interface provided for usage of these cards abroad.
So you're optimistic?
I'm pretty optimistic because the technology is there and now we have the regulation. Also, we are still missing some pieces of legislation probably. Well, maybe not legislation, but the pieces of implementing acts. But this is ongoing and we have still time until 2019. So.
Very good. I should share your optimism and I will definitely. Je nejaká otázka z publika? Ak nie, stále je šanca podať otázku cez aplikáciu slajdov a rovnako na záver celého panela ako stand time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please, take your chair.